So to wrap up today, it's my role to very quickly share with you a number of resources that are available to you. And one of the neat things about Common Core that Dr. Ward mentioned right out of the gate this morning is that we're not in this alone, that there are people across the nation in states that have adopted the Common Core who are in some places ahead of us, and we've certainly learned from them. But here locally, there are a number of resources that have been developed that may be of assistance to you. So I want to share a few of those with you. You're going to look at that packet and go, holy smokes, there's a lot, and I'm just going to go, just promise you to go through pretty quickly. So there are 4 areas I'm going to focus in. One is leadership, then communication, professional development and curriculum, and finally technology. So this first one is around a leadership planning guide. This is put out by CCSS and is designed to assist school districts to implement the Common Core and to support leadership in that area. It is a collaborative effort with CCSS, AXA, CTA, CSBA, PTA, and Charter Schools Association. And if I'd have been doing that correctly, I would have used some acronym for that last piece, but I didn't. So it's a collaborative effort in that regard. The purpose of it is to build on and to make you aware of existing resources that are available. And what I noted in my own tour of this particular resource is that if you download it in a PDF form, it has hundreds of links to other resources, and it puts them in the categories that they're aligned to. So that if you're thinking about, and I'll go to the next slide, if you're thinking about the 10 key components of implementing the Common Core from a leadership perspective, and the way that they frame this is to say that school districts need to have systems, and those systems should not be disparate. They should be functioning in concert with one another, and that each one of these components is called out in this particular resource. So if I go back to that, all of those resources are linked from this web. Each of the components, to go back here, each of the components has 3 sections. It provides an overview, some suggested steps, and some key considerations and questions. So for example, in the curriculum instruction section, which is almost at 3 o'clock, if you thought about that as a clock, the overview emphasizes the importance of coherence in the instructional program and speaks very much about giving examples with the progressions in mathematics and how the mathematics runs through the Common Core standards. Give some examples about in the literacy piece that goes across content areas in order to support students to become college and career ready. And in the suggested steps, it links to numerous resources, things like the California framework, things like links to other states, and it also links to progress monitoring tools and other curriculum and instruction components. And then in the suggested steps, it includes just some steps to trigger thinking, so that if you were building a plan, Debbie earlier today gave an overview of the survey that was given at the beginning of the year. One of the assistant superintendents in our county actually said that one of the things she enjoyed about taking the survey was it made her think about, oh, we haven't thought about this particular thing yet. I think you'll find if you use this tool, there are those kinds of questions as well. And at the back of the document, there are some links. And you can find that on CCSS's website. And it's in your packet to pull up this. And by the way, if you go to CCSS's website, my recommendation actually is to do this, look for this particular document in Google. Just Google the document itself. The next one is one that David talked about already, the strategy guidebook for leaders. It's the PACE report that came out and the work that they've done with Pivot. The audience for this is district and school leaders, and the purpose, as it says, is to talk about a research-based practice. The guide infuses a lot of design thinking, thinking about a structure or a systematic process to provide a structure to collaboratively plan for and a creative process to unfold how you might implement the Common Core. And the guide reminds leaders to keep that whole system point of view, noting that the Common Core will eventually change every part of the system. And so it does a nice job of giving a framework. It's organized around 6 design challenges that each of us are facing at some degree or another. The one being around how to build teacher capacity. The second about addressing gaps in curriculum in a way that builds creativity and fosters innovation. The third around using assessments in order to promote or to move toward a new way of looking at instruction. How to leverage technology to make learning deeper and more meaningful. How to structure implementation activities to reach every teacher classrooms. It's that scalability piece. And then finally, how to engage and motivate administrators, teachers, students, and other stakeholders. So those design challenges are discussed, and a lot of really helpful questions are shared. So there's a model for how to design and implement the Common Core in this document, some resources, practical advice, and guiding questions. And you can find that at the PACE website. So that's another resource for you. There's a resource that was produced by our friends at the Sacramento County Office of Education around educating English learners. This one just recognizes that the level of complexity that has been come up for English learners just because of the Common Core is a significant challenge. So as districts develop their Common Core implementation plans, they need to consider what the needs of those English learners might be. And so they developed a planning tool. It's a very short, simple planning tool. It's around 5 areas: professional learning, the ELD standards themselves and how they support students to learn the Common Core, the assessments, accountability and data, and then finally communications and stakeholders. A lot of the same themes we've talked about today. So what this particular report does is help you to think about what are the things you might do in each of those 5 areas. It's available at SCOE's website, Sacramento County Office of Education. In terms of communication, we heard a couple of things lastly today with Monica and with music, but the Council for Great City Schools has a really nice messaging packet that you can download online. It also has overviews of various messages you might use in the Common Core, the messengers who you might deploy in order to build your message around Common Core, what strategies you might use for messaging a lot of what music referred to today, and how to develop a successful communication plan. It includes some sample key messages, similar to what music shared today, some letters to parents, both from superintendents and principals, and a case study and frequently asked questions. You can also download that at the commoncoreworks.org, which is also in your packet. Next resource is another resource from CCSS, or the California County Superintendents Educational Services Association. I just wanted to say that to say I could do that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the K-8 California Parents Guide or Parents Handbook for Common Core. And this particular guide was produced in order to hand something out to parents to give them a very simple overview of what is in the Common Core at each grade level. So this handbook was developed to assist K-8 parents. It's written in parent-friendly terms. It's translated into 18 languages, and you can find that also on the CCSS website. In terms of professional development and curriculum, the subject matter projects are available to us. They are a network of 9 discipline-based projects that provide rigorous professional development designed by K-12 and university faculty to enhance learning for all kids. There are more than 90 regional sites, and here at the county office, we often interact with the subject matter projects. We happen to be doing that right now in getting folks prepared for the next generation science standards. You probably have access to those as well. They create communities of practice to promote high-quality teaching, leadership, and educational equity, and they give educators a variety of professional learning opportunities. They're working on some very specific projects. Here are the list of various subject matter that are involved in the project, and some of the examples of the projects that they're working on have to do with mathematics, literacy and science, in history, looking down about effective language teaching, analytical writing, critical reading, Common Core and physical education, and changing arts education. And so there's a lot of projects that they are doing to support the Common Core. Mentioned earlier today was the mathematics framework. I feel like this is the Ginsu knife commercial. Wait, there's more. You don't just get the K-8 parent handbook, you get the math framework as well. And the math framework, for those of you who have read it, I just hope that you get to see your family once in a while, because that's about 1,200 pages long. But it has a lot of things that guide the curriculum and the development of instruction that teachers will provide. It provides context, and then each of the grade levels, in addition to all the chapters around assessment and instruction and supporting English learners and all of those other things, it includes specific information around specific grade levels where we can support kids. And so it gives a lot of great examples. If the standards are the what, the framework begins to help people understand the how, and it's a great professional development tool. It also provides background to assist. Debbie talked in her messaging about this morning about the survey with districts making decisions around integrated versus traditional. It gives some advice around how to go about that. And then it also provides, as districts now with our new materials being adopted by the state board at its January meeting, gives them some advice about how to approach those materials. The English Language Arts Framework has not yet been approved. It was available for public comment earlier this year and will reopen for public comment later this spring, but it is still available online, and I encourage you to have folks look at that as well, similarly in language arts. And there are many more resources posted on the PACE website. In the area of technology, there is a website that was just developed but was just released this past Friday. Folks who participated in the same session up in Sacramento heard that it would be on Friday the 28th, but this is the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress. That's our new assessment system, because we needed another acronym in California. The CAS, is that what we're doing? Does that sound good? Okay. Because I know KC, Cassie, you know, all that, people didn't ever figure that out. But the CAASPP Technology Readiness website. The field test will provide an opportunity for districts to assess their technological capacity to deliver these tests. The most pertinent resources are now available from the CDE on their Smarter Balance Field Test website and the California Technical Assistance Center's website. This is designed to complement those two websites, so it's designed to give them extra resources. What you'll find if you look there is that you can actually search lots of presentations, documents, things that are about getting your schools and districts ready for the implementation of the assessment, and you can talk about what role you play in the district and find those resources, and there are all kinds of resources that you can access. You can also browse by resource type, by topic, and by type of user. And then finally, they have videos and webcasts on this particular website that you can access. And that site's available at btechready.org. On that note, there is a piece on this website if you wanted to register for alerts. If you had particular interests, you can click on things that you're interested in, and then they can send you updates as they become available. The last thing that I didn't share with you that's not in the presentation, and that is here in San Diego and to our friends in Imperial and Orange counties, the county offices also have some resources that they offer to our schools and districts, and many of you in this room know because you interact with us a lot on that note, but there are plenty of resources there. So my role was to share with you on the ground things that are available locally to all of us. The one thing we've heard over and over today is that we're all in this together, and part of doing these kinds of things is both to gain access to these resources, but also to make sense of those resources with one another. Because what we're going to find is as we move forward with implementation, we're going to run into bumps in the road. Despite our best efforts with NCLB, we only reached a certain level percentage of students who were proficient. We're going to reach similar challenges as we move forward with the Common Core. And so the more we gather together to share things with one another and share what's working, the better off our students will be, and that's what our priority is about.